Tiffany for Mimokoba, the Better News TV, best sources. So, when you subscribe to Better News channel, yeah. Make sure to subscribe, no one like, no one share, no one turn on notification bell. So, be update be a bear on Sabit Miaka. Na make I was a comment section once you are there. Make sure to leave your comment. Never do me dear Kosovo, no one. So, for Fro, Honoma, or Munya, who channel ya answer, or Munyan say channel in can make sure to be shamo. No so a honey pie the brim with the beer. That. Na ensemble able by a new elected sanitation and what do you call it, sanitation and water resources no Madam Freda Prempeh ensemble ababetuja then some of betuja anye Okudzeto ablakwa and some group be a friend mepe anyo mode enam omode omususu yemu no omodwen se maame ne nsem hunu ne kwasasem na wo ka kire wo because wontimi mekasa asem wenje aden na akufuado amamuo no is full of lies and before nkan kwere wo amamuo no momfa no kwere na ebu oman no na ensem bebre ana omode tu dwa na Okudzeto ababonten reply honorable Freda Prempeh na ensem be na ode tu dwa mami enkoti so onim so Okudzeto de so ensem abonten a blast mami enkoti na ba ya ka bia no de be kam
Enra da wasofo yo hwensuensuwa ena hotie me Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources Freda Prempeh na no akoyi ni kama nei ya twinabo so ni nyina da ne se ensentwofo nhye de bi ekoso efa Ghana Water Company Limited wo mususu tade waja dam no a wo so mu ba bebia tum tise kwabasa ade hye tete botia no nom ene waja nom na chese won so no afi bia san ade ato wo mani wo mu de afi bia no ya ade ato wo mu anie na won mu na Freda Prempeh kwaka kire wo manfo se an we ye fra se ye yi motutwe ye bodawro muntu fa firi ho mu sisa mpene mu nkaka mo ne mo yire ne mo ma na mkopa baabi mo ho adwa mbebu nnua edi agumaso ne mabo ye mfi twiduku said ye wo manfo mo voter region eni miami hodo eastern buno eni miami hodo won kranse no sa me akoso mo dam ena pon dam ye biedi tu mu no je se ama akoye ka aba beto aban no eso na nka firi mra via refo firi ase bo dawuro se akoso bo dam na ye ma ye bebia tum bo dawuro no ana ena ko pe baabi ko bo wo ho adwa enka nya senka ekakase ena abeto man no so mo sori a wo mo bo aban no sudetri no wo mo do mo ntratra no mo nya so bra kire saa na se sem ni siwie na se won kuku no won kaka odwapade kakra wo ho no ni nyina sayi a wa bebo sudetri edi aban no eso se so man Ghana ne ye gidama edi atusre na wo sa ensan we se hu no Mepe Development Association wonso eye kurokase ya san me wuko ho no mu a chesanie esuo no atwi ede afo manfo so wo mani abre abuafu papa se adehye bro 31000 ebi every volta bunu eastern ena Greater Accra ena wo mu ho aka na se woni bibia de ma wo mu se Sanitation Water Resources Minister e wo sa akotena ba bi ko kasa bi nsem awose okodi wo ho few awose osanso kwatwa wo mo adapa na Water Revenue Authority ni mpanifo eboda process so apaso so bebo da wuro a so wo munyi wo mo niema Freda Prempeh na wo se niema no wo mu yiyi wo beso wo pampam anasa na wo se niema no wo mansions awoduro a ejamo party aba power wo sanso ye member of parliament odwapade a wanya no wo to wo mo nkrase so mu yiyi wo mo niema na wo mo famra megumu ana en wo se sese na de kase na ato wo manie esanso wo bi wo ho no mu a wono no oya fisherman wo konsuo so eno ne nabusua wonsa akwo ma no ni netio ni kanuo ni nyina afiri ni nsa na yire tontone ma bo table so a bibia ensuo ne edekọ wo mantimi afa tade ba ko pempo eno mantimi afa mpaboa wo mu ni wo mu ho hwe enti aho kira samre aba beso a wo mu so no wo mu hia kasade said the Empenika se kasade ema bato essence wona kase ni mu yie se empenifo bi adwuma ye ne tosini ya ma na du sam pempenso we obi an mo begira ba bia kase akoso mo dam po dam aye ma ye mbie da bi dam ra ye bebie nenso nhye pa na wo se empenifo di gu akwan ni apono so na de hye mpempe obo 30000 de bo won ho ba no wo ma ntimi entu santu sa na mo no ama wo bibia afiri wo mo nsa wo titi ye tietiem ensuo bo wo bat wo nchen ya no wa ma no so na wo sen ensuo bo wada no abopiti no asori na chese wo dwane enya afa na wo kaka wani misika shaha me mattress me ntade entu wo mu ni wo mu ho hwe ade kasia na ato wo mu no asambe no obi wa no ma na setrem 20 cities kura wani bi 30 Ghana kura wani bi se ade achi wo mu a ba bi wo mu chom te sa akutukofo refugees comes school dem no mo dadeda no mo dan krofo hwe krofo se be ma wo mu sebi ensumpo na wo mu anom eti Freda Prempeh hwewano kasa ye esanse se wan hwe ye a ade e beba wo so no e bebro wo so na yendi kan eti Freda Prempeh ne nsem a wo de atodwa.
We don't want what has happened at Okudzeto to happen to us in Accra. The Okudzeto spillage, even though VRA, NADMO, the Water Resources Commission came together to educate the people in the community, did simulation exercises with them even at NPP. Yet they refused to leave. They didn't want to be evacuated. They stayed there till the end when we started spilling. Unfortunately, look at what is happening. And government has to spend millions of money on relief items, on education. The whole area, the water is contaminated. And what Ghana Water and Water Resources Commission would have to spend money, millions of money to treat the water before we can pass it through our pipes. So a stitch in time saves 9, but sometimes it's difficult to accept the situation. We cannot continue to sit back and allow these things to go on. Looking at what is happening at Okudzeto, now people are blaming government, people are blaming VRA, people are blaming NADMO. But these three institutions really did a lot of education right from January. Even in September, they were still talking to their people to move because there was a likelihood they were going to spill in the next week or two. And because of the rainfall patterns have changed, climate change, you cannot anticipate when it will rain. So even if they start spilling on a very gradual note, the rains will also fall and the dams will keep on coming up.
Some voice way, last time I hear about your platforms in here. Because my minister who work and what you naturally say, ubuafu. Wa she look, wa show, minister. She say hunu ya was pili wa bonte press conference ase say NADMO very for etc ye educating crofo so wo muntu say nka wo mutu ya enkanya ne say nka ne ma say ya wo san so ebo aban no edin say aban no mra meboa wo mo Jesus Christ we mu nyina ye ministers ni mo ni dimpo mento aso na ni nyina da emonu Northton FDC mrashe dwane honorable Sam Okudzeto abrakwa no ye ni mu aya wode ma Freda Prempeh eni.
These Akufo-Addo ministers should stop adding insult to injury. We are pained, we are distressed, we are depressed, we are devastated. They should stop these things. It's getting on our nerves. We have had enough of their blatant lies. She should tell us when. She should give us dates. When did they come here? She herself, has she been here before? I mean, does she know what she's talking about? And move to where? That the people refuse to move to? I mean, move to where? Is she aware that we were here more than 200 years before the dam was constructed? That we had to give up portions of our land for these two dams to be constructed? I mean, the level of ignorance is shocking. They should stop embarrassing themselves. That the people refuse to move. Move to where? Nobody is a squatter here. That point must be made very clear. So even if you had plans for people to be relocated, what did you put in place? What have you constructed? Where were the people supposed to go to? Is government not ashamed that the NADMO camps that they have erected are in classrooms? We are filing a motion for a full-scale probe. It will be live on television. Every Ghanaian will get into these matters. We will delve into the matters and know exactly what happened. Who are those who took these decisions? All these blatant lies will be exposed.
Abusafania yeti Northton NP Honorable Sam Okudzeto abrakwa Freda Prempeh dia omo prepare with speech say statement dem ase kokan omu ni munyansa wa wo so kokan ye entu so ni adwene say okotena okeka sansem we sei wo mo nkwa hefa no mo sesa wo mo ne manko wo ye sanitation water resources minister incident yi esi ye 1 month muni wakọ ho onko ho otinkran kasa sei eya mo nye sa na ya na etua mo ka ya na ehwe mo kamunyo bia sa ya muhu ye fun ye nenam Ghana ha yi de oton pure water de ade achi onam makola nam krom ne tax enua na Freda Prempeh amo aye Freda Prempeh we member of parliament abaye minister unyo bia sa ye num ye a mu fi se ne mu ye superhumans mu ye ni person ye num yi ne ye de ye kwaje bosia na mu awia na wase bi abusuafo me ko me development association for womani abre me ne kojo mawulenu Fabian kwotwetwe enkomo e de afasa ensem hu kojo good evening omayo unim ka kire Sunday ade aye ko hu ye e wo Volta region
wow
chese ye me nwanwa se
me hwe o TV so sa
President Akufo-Addo LED delegation ko ho no ko kasasa kachire eni pansitena mo mo de te wono no
trauma
hwe ye ho foi because ye twa nsuo no ye de canoe etwa Volta River no eko communities bi sa land communities ensuo ni de de kro ni mfimfin na ye twa nsuo ni wi misire obi pia ota se o man because na me ho keka me na me titi nsuo ni bi gu me ho a na sansuo na ye twa ye no a ye tietie mu no a catch a ball nyina ye mu ma because it say ye che road ye da he na ensuo na flood ya ba be fa kwan mu ni nyina
enti unya ba bia amfa
enti no kan kọ kamba enti no sa kwan we say no ensuo na flood ho no no toilet ewom esabe ye friend is cemetery enti awash sa niema afensu no crofo refuse dump bola ewom
bibia wom bi
sa nsuo no ena kroma no esa akwakodware
what
we are sanitation minister
what
water resources minister sa nsuo na etai hono no eno na omugum omu video ena oma senso na me say omo de kwai omo so omo di kodware
what
because ye provide omo sachet water sa sachet water na de ma o catch so ni me say did days bia enya weeks o did days ya esai na ya trotro
yes no correct na
sa ensuo no a catch omo sakodware no infection rashes bia beti egu omo no
na sima kakra bi pom de kwa nantim hwe
yes
hwe ne am ho keka
mo fie ho edi ma mi di dware and then after say infection so kwa no sa share water no egu wono mo so cha ebese oni choice obesa ate ano ayede anom enkofo de da classrooms a yem provide wo mosquito net
what
kechire na wotin kran
air condition
sanitation water resource where wotin kran Ghana water shower say almost 2 weeks ni yem be a pipe because almost substation ya shutting it down
omadi ami o
sa crucial times we say mu a e was say ye pipe no e flow sa no pipe ma we ye water resources minister wotin kran
so
e kasa say
asam na ara wo sabo
ensuo water is life o
hia
ensuo ye nkwa ensuo ye mbie pipe
tabi
because some say no ensuo so mo transmit free baby o say dey but na you know the volume no power no e wo from enti no omunya ensuo mfa ndware ensuo na polluted ensuo na etwa mo ho ahia enu no mo se dware enu no mo se wo hye wo mo ne yemem na pure water no mo manage ni kakran no ma nom enu kwa ne mfra ban ho individuals private entities and the minister wo ka say see ye kan no mu tie yan ko man ko fa hawa meto aban so bosome beso na kakra beto futuo mu no ya say yi de atwa Freda Prempeh ka madam
unfortunate
uni mu nyansa
Waba tele Accra FM ya mami
abusia enya de adwe pene se wo ho apaso ena enya de apan da nkwa pene se wo senso na ntihwe fom na so kremo dark na abanisa sa oba Facebook live babu ani akwa homa pa sama kwa wura e kan we situational report o won wo ko obi
catch ensuo we bi na wo mo sa no
na me make am say me Facebook live
enso we bi nkrofo adan sisi sanso no sa adan no nso no nkrofo fie no mu anoma ye toilet
ewom enti bibia
amexe bibia mix ka kire obi eti hey no ensu obo anadwo da suo mu no wanfa hwe sanitation and water resources minister
araho
ya onim ni so responsibilities
ensu we komkomi wom wobi obanum bibia na fu betimi adoa
enti se e konimu anase because they say no one ankasa baby omo no 6 months 1 year kra no I don't think so betimi akoback ho enti se kwanimu na se sachet water no se ya provide anko ya supply anko a ensuo we yi na nipa no besan so akosabi
trasa antontom na from anopheles mosquito ne be paya gum sese e omu da sumpro omu dada ayo bra wosam o aye tete nkra ha na asia ho atwe ye bisa no amafo obere obabi o nti sanitation minister we dear Debbie na enamso ama Ghana ban ababonte dia beto dwa say well ewi ase di okonsuo na gba hina wama take full responsibility dia say waje sobuori nyina wobe se wono wo ho aka no won betu nya baabi atena enti ne waye ne se wate interministerial committee badwakuo bi a wono mo ehwe sansemi mu o na oma kwampa bi o betimi afa so na affected communities no enkronkro ne enkronkra na wo ho aka pa no won benya baabi atena we ya raho sam enam so menen central fo nhia mu a won frɛ we ya press briefing deputy minister for information era Fatima to Abubakar echirechire mu sɛ so medical dia to dwa no abaya take full responsibility sɛ saafo ya ho aka nyina no esan sɛ ne okonsuo no gba hina nti no won bɛ mom baabi atena no mo guso a wo mo ye ntoto ya ebetumi ama na ba ne sa yentie Fatima to Abubakar.
To express our sympathies to all affected persons. We know our brothers and sisters are dealing with so much in these difficult times, and we can only assure them that if you don't see the full complement of VRA management and board and the full complement of NADMO in this room, it is only because they are still on the field making sure all the measures that government has put in place are working. As you are aware, and as expressed by the President of the Republic, government takes full responsibility to restore the communities to ensure that people are safe. And that is exactly what VRA and NADMO have deployed personnel to make sure we reach that. I am also aware that some well-meaning Ghanaians and private organizations have also joined hands to bring relief to some affected communities. This is a very beautiful thing as it reaffirms what I believe as the Ghanaian spirit, that at every point in time, if we are faced with any challenge, Ghanaians come together to make sure our compatriots, our brothers and sisters receive help and they are safe. Government has constituted an interministerial committee launched by the President and chaired by the Chief of Staff of the Republic, who is also putting measures in place to draw from all government agencies and institutions that have stakes in these communities, like the Ministry of Education, to assess and also know the nature of rehabilitation.
Fatima to Abubakar, Deputy Minister for Information, Nana Motia, and we and was to just say. Atoyonche mu aboafo NADMO adwumafo nso so kire se 20 ya ye nya kyehye sasafo ehu aka ne de wo mo be ya adwuma dene ya adwuma so se be ya won mo majapade ni nyina seye won mo a eniema won mo ede bo mo safo hini nyina no akokeka nsuom no ane won mo enya baabi enna no wani so am totototo se watwe ganka afidie yi no kwaye mu no wo be sasafo nyina be nya baabi agina.
In the normal course of NADMO's duties, they respond to some of these national emergencies, be it floods, water, internal displacement of any sort. NADMO handles that. And that is why yesterday you saw pictures of the Director General of NADMO in Yeji and also at Bupe, because they are also affected by floods. But those floods are not related to the downstream activities of VRA. So NADMO is embarking on a separate operation to address all those communities, apart from what collectively they are doing with VRA. But what I can tell you is that the spillage was not something that they regularly do unless there is a schedule since the establishment of the dam. So that is why it was communicated that the last time they did it was 2010, before this one. So it is not as if impromptu, they just spill as and when just to disrupt activities. But from what they have made us understand is when the integrity of the reservoir is threatened, then there is the need for them to spill. Because these same communities that are affected, that are really struggling in these times, I have been on ground and I will still go there.
Go on, Abe. Hello, Fatima to Abubakar, and I'll tell you what I say. If you are not going to mean a man who mum. What's what grounds for? Yes, you go, not the echo in it yet. I think they are different from what Catrano, et Mamma Moto. Sans ya bro krom papa e kwamu tumi nie emanzuo ntumi nyim fire de here na ni nyina mu deputy chief executive officer kwa chef for penny obutu voter review authority ano ononyamfo Edward Obinkenzo ana no so de arehemu nsem assurance e de am obi bia se obi anka na komanto ne yam etuo be kwakotwere be asomro fi bedo ama krama nya ne dabre tokro wo do nyina nkwasi ba bia eya den nsuo ne bewe eya den a won mo majapade asai one ma wo ho aka ne nyina mu no won be ha ni on betimi ayi na de aboasafo ne nyina na obia sum etumi adwo no.
VRA, as we know, we've been saying over the period of time, with the situation that we find ourselves in, we would like to assure the whole nation that and those affected that we'll be working with government to ensure that nobody is left unattended. We'll be with the communities affected throughout these trying times. Make sure that the comfort and relief that they need to have, they receive them. We will also ensure that as the situation unfolds, we work with government to bring the comfort and relief to the people affected. We, as VRA and the agencies that we are working with and government, would like also to assure all that, as projected, we'll be seeing an end to this situation that we have in the nearest possible time. Notwithstanding, I'd like to go through some of the things that we're doing at the various communities. Since day one, when we started this spelling, we've been with the communities, within the communities, all those affected from Israjaman all the way to South Town and Central Town, North Town, Adan, East, and what have you. We've been with them, and the relief items are still being supplied. We'll continue, as I said, to be sure the relief items goes to these affected.
Ani amuti kwanchira for penny na bedi yechire Deputy CEO Voter Review Authority Onmunyamfo Edward Obinkenzo. Efri me akoso mo sutade na pondie akabo ma ye bia twumi nkrofo pi na eka sa de na nkasa no hwe kwan ye omode omanfo afaso no a asa ni da ho boni bia na anhwe yi a se 2024 general elections no edru a ni aba be kasa an uni Ghana card ena nukura no se the electoral commission kura nso kura eye uni Ghana card a untimi ntwere wudin voters ID so de kwa hwe ya untimi emfa nto aba no. Former Court of Appeal Judge Justice Kweku Jan Edia to just say Ghana for moda munna electoral commission wenyi 2 mini mrebia wobetimi agina so akasa koso modam victims no wenya 18 years na so woni Ghana card anase wa register of voter register ni mu a electoral commission ni beka se wojani 2 mini na hoden so say 2024 general elections ni say ni pakro no o ma no ento aba wo se mra bia ni ho electoral commission system ni machines a wo de eye adwuma no wo voters ID card kora eno akwa akoto aba ni nyina aka hu bi nenso se bibia si na sa wo titi voter ho e bia buni east ano wo no ba bia wo ho aka east wo no ba bia wo ho aka greater Accra no wo ba bia wo ho aka wo se emra no so electoral commission say next year or year general registration exercise wabasan so your replacement and one so obeko wo bia no no betima ba bejina wanu maka say an and na wo Ghana card way and na wo say we register Ghana card wo number ya say wo say hey wo bia ntimi nyu obi bia hute emre no so now you Ghana ni mapa when you're 18 years one register wo voter register ni mu kwa dia justice Kweku Jan bu a kire say ekwan bia so no wo beto wa aba
in particular, as well as those in other parts of the country, manifestly risk the cruel denial of their constitutional right to vote in the 2024 elections by reason of the loss or destruction through the Volta River floods of their national ID and voter ID cards, unless something urgent and drastic is done to avert this eventuality. We all know that the universal adult suffrage and hence the franchise to vote by those qualified to vote is a constitutional imperative. Every reasonable and necessary step and action ought to be devised to avoid and prevent any mass disenfranchisement of the people of the Volta region, as well as those in all other parts of the country affected and afflicted by this man-made disaster. I wish to remind and caution the government and all other relevant and appropriate bodies, agencies, entities connected with the 2024 general elections about the terms and implications of the unanimous judgment of the Supreme Court touching on a qualified Ghanaian citizen's right to be duly registered by the Electoral Commission as a voter in the case entitled Ten Adi versus Electoral Commission. The Supreme Court further declared that a heavy responsibility is entrusted to the Electoral Commission under Article 45 of the Constitution in ensuring the exercise of the constitutional right to vote. For in the exercise of this right, the citizen is able not only to influence the outcome of the election and therefore the choice of a government, but also he is in a position to help influence the course of social, economic, and political affairs thereafter. He indeed becomes involved in the decision-making process at all levels of governance, unquote. After JSC quoted and relied on a passage in the United States case of Westbury versus Sanders, which emphasized the fundamental character of the right to vote in the manner as follows, quote, "No right is more precious in a free country than that of having a choice in the election of those who make the laws under which, as good citizens, we must live."
Abusuafo we say a former appeal court judge, Justice Kwaku Jano no, ena wo bu a kire se de moma mpani Akufo-Addo ekopie ewo mepe na wo ka onimu amoto abama no enu anim wo amanto abama because osisi ya kan vote no nkenu kwa asasa aho no kra wokọ because omonto abama NPP no entie bia na jase ani da ho bone mumbie ngum na nkrofo voters ID card enso fanko mumbie na ntwimfa wonso no mu Ghana card na chase entwimfa nko election 2024 omu ko opposition omu suro sa no na de akwa ya ne san wokọkọduru anuma ena ID card we ena ID card we ya ma wonto we de womu a womu timra se ekire emramu esanso kura ede ho atemu omra ne ho atemu de ba ebu a chese electoral commission wo bibi ya akasa 14 months emre wom animanimu ya no won fa ye ento de da na obi bia ne voters ID card ayira ne Ghana card ayira wo so register no register wo mo esanse enya de obetimi ayi obi bia esinchen akasa voters ID card ayira enti election 2024 on to abano ebi
afa yankwansa foforo mu a na yade ani kire mu ewo waja gbawe municipality e wankran pumpuni mantame ya na waja gbawe municipality ho no branu bi ho ma ye fre no gbawe gonse fo mu ho yase na otwe mienu ni pepepe ahini mi bosumi de to sonkono October 9 ana krofo wo mu fie mu be hu se enipa bi a wo susu so mu free Ghana Water Company ane waja gbawe municipal assembly num na won mo ba no nyom nko an mo ba ye won ne asrafo armed military men a mo hyehyɛ mo uniform ene ka mo ho na omo dru waja gbawe gonse ho no won mo dan bi sesi wo pɛ na o ma ma ka ho edan we ye bebu agu na o ma tro ho to be demolished by Ghana Water Company Limited no o mo ko no ma ko foforo ho saa yeso mo make dan bebre a edan so mo bugu a nipa wo mo nya baby ntira biom families a no kuranie baby om do ti beto ebebo om sa abo kokose ne adwo so abodo bebro empim mienu 2000 families ena sa o hawi ebeto won na enchechemu kakra bia so ne se nya wani bredi kan a wo mo be demolition e was ampotem ho yase opani mabosome afimpi mienu ni du baako December 2011 omukoye the same thing ho emenam so adaya wo mudwiri kuye eburu hanum 500 completed any uncompleted houses wo mudwiri kuye na menam so edipa baburu 2000 homeless wo manya ba bia fo muti anto edu sa de isi sa bre no kuranie amanfo wo manu so yom totototo pa enti sutro mienu wo hoi amani ha hane sa o hawi sa ba beto mu biemu a ene no wo koye na wo baaye wo mo de o ma de srade wo mo tu dwa nyina ne se sapa na esa besi biodi a wo srada aban sesa na dwene nyesa wonu manya ba bi fo mu tinto no ebeye buburu ja na sanya medi kan se wo mo market da ne ho no wo mo tron to be demolished by Ghana Water Company Limited no enei Ghana Water Company Limited ba bontia betu e dia betu dwa se wo ma edi wo mo sa tetrom so se sa edambu a ebekoso no wo mo sa hyase no wo mo nim hu bi no wo mo kire se nahi wo mo nim ho hwe.
About 2 weeks to 3 weeks now, some military men came to my electoral area and wrote on our buildings that to be demolished by Ghana Water Company. Up to now, we haven't heard anything from Ghana Water Company. And the whole people in the area are left in suspense. So please, I'm here to know the day that exercise is going to be carried and what they can do to help us so that we can quit the area before the exercise take place. Secondly, we are close to Wager, but we don't have potable drink water over there. How can we work, or what can we do for you people to supply us water to drink in that area?
We have realized that our treatment plants across the country are being threatened by several issues. So there was a conversation between Ghana Water and National Security. National Security went to all our stations across the country to do vulnerability assessments. Based on the vulnerability assessments, certain measures were recommended. And so some of these activities, once they have accepted that it's creating a problem on GWCL systems, they move on to try to stop it. When they got to Wager, they realized people have moved so much into the zone of Ghana Water, very close to the water. And so if they want to demolish, a whole community will be affected. So further discussion showed that 500 meters away from our system, we can contain that and then resolve to make sure that we protect the environment.
Eti adihye bia omtete gbawe gonze ena ne wote omo kire se ai ya ba make ma ko da ho na enu adwumadie bi koso na we 2023 edition of accounting edema customers na Ghana Water Company ena yes adwumadie no ase na assembly man wono wo gonze joma anu we Wager gbawe municipality ho ye fra no fiagbazi Ruby Ofori ebusa akwahen se na mo badwiri ya da yagu amama make ho no nano na kwankyerafo pani a obutu Ghana Water Company Limited anu Dr. Clifford Brimer echire mu se o dabi mote ne sa ene na eye mistake enja ya o yeri mo hwe se mote se dambuo bi bekoso a Ghana Water Company ya twe ho free ho.
It's causing us shutdown because you need to backwash your filters, you need to clean the system, and if you don't stop the machine running, you cannot do that. And once you stop the machine, people will not get water. Also, we have to increase the chemicals that we use, and that's at a high cost. When the regulator asks us to come for tariff, we look at our costs and look at how much water we get and take it to them, and also look at the categories of customers we have and distribute the tariff to them. The same people who go to pollute the water and increase the cost are the same people who will say that the tariff is high, we cannot pay.
Assessments. Based on the vulnerability assessments, certain measures were recommended. And so some of these activities, once they have accepted that it's creating a problem on GWCL systems, they move on to try to stop it.
Managing Director Obutu Ghana Water Company Limited brand wo yi opani na o assemblyman anu no anu wo che se o ha ne dia abane so mo pa se wo me na hye so mo kobu nkrofo dan wo ne die wo mo nim ho hwe
ba ka che me Ghana Water nso no every year bia spelling koso omu bie dam no eme nsuo twiko alright ensuo no de ewo sanso ne ye de nsuo na
de nsuo river na
eno no galamsefo pollute no chemicals nom ne anema wom enti mo spend a lot and na mo de asone soa serve Ghana fo afi ensuo to sa nyankopon nsuo ne de Yara. So mu be biegu ama na sey ade. December, January. Ghana water baby and so 2 weeks. So water volume na kofom.
Yes.
But enso badam ni mu a mu bie tugu.
Ayasamo.
Enti yentimi
empe kwan bi so.
Yes.
Na yen store.
Storage ayi bia reservoir bia ni hono mu a. Ebetimi because unim kache mutu nsom 1 week 2 weeks. Ye drew sa dry season ni mu a December, January, February this enso start say to. Me kwatina baby a meti fufuro. Da ba mo se na bebe se 1 month kwa na Ghana water for me ensu because ni ye drew hamatan mu. Ba enso no so mo na eba de mo na mu biegu.
Na wo hwa ko so mo die. On be ko fa so fa ko bompa na nsan a. Ensu na san we.
Na ye ho akere ye.
Odwene ho
ana enso no ye store enso na enya na.
Eya pa ye betimi a store. But you the plan be ba ne de obey.
Plan ne wo ho but sika o mo de be ye no on be chedi. On be chedi.
Ani bi ni adwen enye no. On be this kind
because the way ya ne nso ho den wo Ghana ha pa Ghana water nso to a ne mabu nso agu amana sa ase nkrofo no. Ene ye ma ne ya na seriously. Awushafo yempem so ne yentinsensem fufuro emu. Titre ni ya wo de concerned Cocoa Farmers Association eya na boatin bonsu. Ghana cocoa akuafo mu kuo no. Enu obu a chese say Ghana cocoa board no na esi wona yete ase ewu yengu no. Ni yegu ni wi a na enu ane say cocoa akuafo no wo mo abehuru kwan yo befa so beton wo mu cocoa. Esan ade ne chechiri cocoa board fo kon. Wo mo di damatu so mu ni kapreba ya wo mo di to cocoa no. Se okona kokoto cocoa a sika ma ebuo no so kura no enhye danya ebuo papa bia na nsa yei de beto adwa ye bohu se omubu a che se ebo dada no kura no kokari kokoko kura na enya de aban ne etiminya sika edi tua edi ema wo na enso ye ne ba betwa bo pan na eyade ayede atoso na wotwe etwam na finance minister Kenofori atade ahintasen bi tu dwa se wo ba beti monitoring desk yes am monitoring desk no onu Kenofori atane ka hu bi Bank of Ghana so eka hu ebi ya cheso mbehwe cocoa board wo mo expenditure chese sika omdidi wo mudwuma na busuafo wa hwe Kenofori ata any Bank of Ghana wo mo se wo mo ti monitoring desk no mo dia hwe cocoa board wo mo sika se do mo ti du mo didwuma a chese ne ba yire pa na ni nyina da ne se International Monetary Fund e dia ba betu dwa se annual losses se de say cocoa board na esi wono no ebo wo mine ka ebo kana ahwe yi abane de wo ye epese ye sikasem no ntotoye ne etimi gina yie no enya de a yensa betimi aka cocoa board ebo ka amasese no Bank of Ghana governor Dr. Ernest Addison ne Kenofori ata na ebehwe won sikadie ene kwan ya omudi sika edidwuma na enumu na naboaten bonsubu a chose kokwa akuafo ebre pa kokwa akuaye enya simple sa enye ize kura cocoa board na egu a momawiase nyina ne Ghana fo nyina hu se cocoa board no egu na mumbie wo mo ne kwan a wo mo ankasa yi wo mafo wi a omekwa koto mu cocoa no wo mu ntimi tuhu anamo.
And then if they know that cocoa board is collapsed, we should know so that at the end of the day, as a cocoa farmer, I can sell my cocoa directly to the buyer to make my money rather than relying on the government. The government have nothing better to offer for the farmers. As I'm speaking to you, a lot of people, millions of people want to cut down their cocoa tree, want to shift from cocoa to a different crop, all because they've seen that they have been enslaved for so many years. What is Kenofori coming to do? He was the finance minister, and what happened? They will come and tell us that they bought the board, and then they went to cabinet and whatever that they call it. We don't believe in that. What we are saying is the industry has collapsed. So they should allow with the cocoa farmers directly sell our cocoa produce to make our money, because other countries are doing it. They sell their cocoa on their own. Why is it that what interest is government so much interested in that he cannot even allow with the farmers to sell our produce than for him to sell it for us? Then it means he's getting more. That is why he's so interested. If there's nothing, the like Kenofori will not come. Move all the way from the finance side just to come to the what interest is government so much interested in that he cannot even allow with the farmers to sell our produce than for him to sell it for us. Then it means he's getting more. That is why he's so interested.
Chirasa said Nana Boati Bonsuani Abreno. Edia na ba na eje dia no hwe dia fi kokwa akuafo ho no a wo mo madane slaves wadane wo mo enkoa na kyerɛ sɛ wonya wo mo so mo ankoton wo mo kokoo beans na aba ne so wo no ana beto wo so na wo beto a kyɛ ne wo pɛ no na woto so kura nya de a wo betua kokoo board no so a woto mo kokoo no so a PDCs no wo de wo mo ka enti no wo kokoton so a kakra na wo benya no a sika no emma enu obi sase kenofori ata adai na wo tete wo mabrabo saa na wo so kokoo atabiri kokoo akuafo no kokoo nyina akodi syndicated loan bosia nya asam ketwa mo ba 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 yi wo de ai an enterprise life ai show loan watene de sika sa ba beto data bank no watene de na kokoo akuafo so de kakra no a wo de beto wo mo niema a wo betu mo kan so a eno so akoye buachi bidin na ni nyina dam no wo buachi se concern cocoa farmers association o ma ni nyidi yakoso no kwase kenofori ata o se adenti ena adwuma kakra bi ade ahya wo nsa wontimi nye no akoye ade soa abesi Ghana fo so wo se wakoye ade soa abesi cocoa akuafo so wo se o mu de adwo mu nyina da ne se wo di cocoa akuafo adwen edi agro.
They are just joking with the cocoa farmers. What is the finance minister coming to do? At the end of the day, we gave you the whole country just to take care of it. And what happened? So, Cocoa Board itself is a collapsed institution. It has collapsed already. We know it and we foresee it. We said it several times, but they never listen. So, with this situation, we don't need Ken Ofori-Atta and his people and other things for them to do what? They have nothing to do. They have nothing to do. If they have something better to do, like by now, Ghana's economy has shoot up. Like by now, you will not be calling me by but what happened? They have nothing to offer. Cocoa farmers are capable of doing their own things. If we are able to manage our cocoa up to now, that we are feeding the country and the country don't even recognize we as a cocoa farmers. What we are saying is they should forget about us. They should forget about Ken Ofori-Atta and his people.
Wasa mo ntu ma adwiri mu na Ken Ofori-Atta no obesimu so a enko hye mo ma enfinhia nsuni obetu Cocoa Board ne gina ne naso eyo ma na dwapade akase pa wagu no awie ama na da ne ka afa edie bebiem na aka we sei eye president a woda Ghana Cocoa akuafo kuo na naboa timbonsu ne na yeteye no
kane no na oman Ghana so obi benya light ya damu a na de use won ya fra no post paid chirasa mita na we use ofie no anya wona regulate ye no anse wo de aboho etie wo mu a na light ya we use nyina no na akire kana ba ubehu ubefrafuo mabane ya de abehye ho obetwea obehwem ekabuburu ja nya ize na me yatete ho ebedu babi na fei wo moda ni muo wiase abreda ne a na wadan ho bienti wo mede ne yefra no prepaid nso so ba ye prepaid ne de wudi kan akoto light ni begusu ansa na wa use eti anyiti sa postpaid a ube use awi ansa na watua no dabi na sa dwumadie yi ana sa meters yo mo hya ase a ye use organ ha no enya prekopa na obia enya use ye ne momo ye ne kakra afa na atoato hu akodu mikro machimda enti achimda afo nso so e ba beja postpaid no no ma use prepaid anam so menei enchechiremu bebre na ye de achechira mo anampo enchechira odo bebre education odo na ye de ama omo afa ho koto hofra aja omo ba nsuom asen omo ni maman achimda
ka chire iza omo resist no omo omo nyusu postpaid na omo de prepaid ni bebo ha omo wu
mikro mfwe muntia ni ye pa ansam bebre na wom na secretary anka nchirem no ye ba kan chirem anu na nam so a epuamantam general manager oda ECT ano engineer Mrs. Sariel Etri wo chirechire ma chire customers no chire oh munuanum binum kwa hyase yusu bi dada eya pa uyusu say ya eboa enya veina ya be yu be yusu ba ku ya mu yusu na ya de bill bi abehye ho we de ntesa eni je samba akokora so prepaid no ne say we o light sakura na app bi wo ho no a ubetumi aye bi afa so no wa light ni bi na wo yusu abusu amba ku bi anfa nka ho menka nkyere mo udamu light it mi duma na do ato ansa anado be wa we de no akonya light bi ato so ni app bi a just o twen ma de achinti wa so kura bedam eti nkyere mo de bebre na regional manager no ECG engineer Mrs. Sariel or they ama customers no yentie sanya o ka kire mo ene papa e wo prepaid no e ho
First of all, that means ECG started prepayment action. but more than 50% of ECD customers for prepayment. So, then I do Nansa do order. And I say, what's me system testing in Ama about convenience. I want to be managing our account, bill, and now with the payment app, you can load it in your house. And you said, I did at the Pama or mine, and the moon so and I used to say so. You have a cost of payment.
Oh, yeah, it's the original manager, ECG. Well, we are here now. Achimada district manager ECG. One also kasa your friend engineer Maswell SL. I want to do that. So already a foot truck a crab your demo one and say, "Oh, you no so babu pa." Na omu you free say we ever bent to kwa pinche. If you no more back to kwani and then what just do. Sir, e be a ECG personal sleep ba mu fie. Na omu be say meters no. No be prepaid ya bo ha. Enye to kwa. Na ufrefuo maba akwatam gya de akwa obi apampam. Munya abotremom adwuma no ano mo bebo aboa no
sesia ye de prepaid abey bibi fufu biara ana ehon ti ase no ana NPP papa na learning stage ye nya eguso esua ye nim se ye beti ase ye na ye de dijuma mana wan mana ye mfasode amaye ye djuma ene ye fiefie ni bibia ye de electricity be bia ngidi se prepaid ye kwan fufu bi amaya ebe ma yetumi akora send ye see you use your power no ma ayemfa so de bebre de abra odamai
Achimada residence adehia no ana na Kofi Michelle kopiem wo ho ana obusom se new prepaid no mo amonsadi kan ka bie no masase ya use na etemo sen
simple kra ene se wataguso wana abehwe onyoma wo use ni ye esa no atobi aguso we nya se bosome miensa ye de be abla no wako ho eye good idea etimi mi fie ma change ni na 6 ana o ma be change ama me nto dan fo mom ne nsom ne change no nya se obi ba o so be change no wade esa ya woni de be kom eye adwuma pa na mo de abra yen sisie bie ni nti mom ran support electricity for no mo nya adwuma pa
etimi tete mu no abi so mi na nfom won kan other president it's a very good economical because what we use then I say we active how we use that bit now so maybe for the month and after maybe for 2 weeks aka no work for packaging from because we how maybe abusu we give pay say we pay my 1,000 at least more after the and I say the highest is use for electricity
Papa asa no ntiase agai
ndi ebe wo mo so oni ma omo ya oni mu akopɛ nipa mienu miensa bi apɛ kakra ma wo
okay
o na say ya agenda
o ka de pa fa
na sa hanti no wa maka bibie biri wani so munim ni amo ba mo so
a friend nkrofo bi won kran ne wo say kama papa
enkran ho na be ka kire wo say wo boa
prepare o line enkran ha na ka bete postpaid be use na be odin poma na ogusu
na postpaid kura mutu yi la kanea ni TV ena bia yankopon ba wato fridge bia ka bi edi esi wono mo obi okura opie kwa ni fridge asa kura du na so wahu
okura de
mo ma wo mu kwasa na no ma pem nipa mienu miensa bia pe kakra no mo dia ma wo mu nti wo mu na chese o mu strategy but se mu ni prepaid hu kom ne ho ahokira
prepaid
enkan se wa enkran ho na be ka kire o se enkran
kede ya bon wo ya ha dan enye yo na me ya sign no me say kwabna ayi na sa
bakwaji nsia
ene miniska
bakwaji nsia no ma ba be ye ne mfa henfa nkosia eye papa ena me friend kran why na be friend won kran ha ka prepaid be ka kire o se prepaid ye
me ne bra bi kwa ya aka ye grab ya aka mpo
oh prepaid
se me de ne sign obeje na me say miniska ene miniska no so pesa o pesa da bia sa untua na me say o so megumani mase
mo de mu ni prepaid wa ho mo de mu ntwen mo nyusu mu postpaid ya da na mo tran onye prepaid na mo mankrofo enkansa mo nkire mo mi nya postpaid kura me pe ba me kwa kofa no hefa prepaid amani hu na nipa rete nkran ha be da sum 4 days anza no anya sika sa atokane ade agu ayi so abusuafo executive director ya woda Ghana Integrity Initiative Madam Meriada na wadi atu dwase animu yi ano was Race and Highways Minister Kwasi Amoakwata petition bia ya dia ko ya fa no ya dia ko mai yoko so investigating sama huduo bia Professor Stephen Ade editu dwan wo si ehia wo mo foa so papa wose efua omofua so papa ni nyina da ene se Professor Stephen Adehu sa aban ne yefun amemu ni nye disese dia grandpa olu okasa obieja no okasa no oka yesi yase na Akufo-Addo o abosumi baku edu nan so de beti nanim anya sa obeye president fun pa Ghana ne seso yenya bida president fun pa Ghana yenya bida ewo man no abakosemu no oka ya no sanso di si so se na boni a wo madi ni corruption fum sika wie sika fum adwapade fum sasintino wo mo na peso wo mo che ye next president eno ye Dr. Bomia eno se alake ye nyame mpangu God forbid no otisi corruption so eno se kire se contract wo mo award che se bribe a wo mo gidi free road contractors ho no no enya asem ketua wo se kire se ansana contractor ebenya road ba akose wode ne machine si kwa akosi so akwa ye adwuma no na watua etua enti no wonder say ekwan no contractor ne kokogina so a oye kwan no a kwata 6 months na kwan no afrase dipleti na essay potholes na edane manhole potholes na edane manhole esa say contractor na je contract ni say sika na 100,000 emu 70,000 de minister share wom director share wom we share wom we obetuatua anti kwan na nkasa no project no sika ekomuo no enu 30% na no na Mary Adabu akere se sa hwehwemu no yenye esanse Ghana abose ye to Ghana se edu san pempensuo we eye kro no bo dwirimudie katahye ene proyentia
fortunately for us, Professor is within our space, and he has made this allegation somewhere. So it is also within the remit of the law that for those who these allegations were made against, they should also respond. And I am not surprised that they are responding. And it is good that the road minister wants this issue investigated. And it is within the remit of Yoko. The special prosecutor as well could look into it. So it's not for one agency to do so. For us, we believe that those who come to accountability must come with clean hands. And so if the road ministry believes that these allegations need to be investigated, it is a right call that they want some institutions to investigate. However, let me add that the OSC doesn't even need anybody to put up a complaint before.
Madam Mary Ada, executive director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative.